What's up everybody, Mr. Play Dr. Game here, back with another video for y'all today. And today we're going to be talking about Microsoft, Sony, and Nintendo will not be showing up to E3 2023, which, in my opinion, this move right here spells a doom for E3 as a whole, because the big three is not coming to E3 this year. Like, Microsoft, Nintendo, and Sony are not coming to E3. And what you think all the major third party gonna do as well, since those three ain't coming? They also probably gonna come next year. Who knows? Anyway, the article I'm gonna be reading it from is Kotaku.com. So yeah, let's get right into it. Microsoft, Sony, and Nintendo all skipping E3 2023. This was supposed to be the year after industry setback and a global pandemic that E3, once the brightest center of video game universe, come back recognizable epic as a live show for the first time since 2019. Reports today indicate, however, that it will be doing so without any of the console industry power players. A story on IGN this evening says all three of the gaming third-party console manufacturers appear opposed to skipping E3 big return, meaning that for the first time in the live show history, not a single one of them will be at the event that was traditionally their highlight of the whole damn year. While this is a definitely final straw for E3, this had been coming for a while. Nintendo started holding big E3 press conference 10 years ago through the company had a showroom floor present at the last live show in 2019. And Microsoft and Bethesda originally devoted to holding their own showcase alongside the E3 festivities. Sony also began passing on E3 stuff a few years back. While Microsoft won't be doing any official E3 events, boss Phil Spencer says that as they've done the last few years, Xbox will in 2023 be doing stuff alongside E3, so that any press and industry folks in town for that show will be around for theirs as well. Is not knowing what Nintendo and Sony will be doing at E3 stated. If anything, though, Jeff Keighley revealed Summer Game Fest will be taking place at roughly the same time. It's important to note here that it isn't the same at E3 as the olden days. Event specialist Red Pop took over the planning of the show last year and said, "For years we have listened, heard, and studied the global gaming community feedback. E3 2023 will be recognizable epic, a return to form that honors what always worked while reshaping that didn't and setting a new benchmark for video game expos in 2023 and beyond." How there's going to be any recognizable epic without any major platform holder in attendance is anyone's guess, though Red Pop did say in a statement to IGN, "As we spent much of 2022 refining how E3 would take shape, reflect on the feedback we solicited, we did not send a single contact to our inhibitor until the start of this month. We will receive tremendous amount of interest and verbal communication from many of our biggest companies in the industry. And when we are ready to announce the inhibitors, we are confident it will be a lineup that will make the trip to Los Angeles well worth it for the industry and consumer alike." Let's face it, E3 is dead. This is gonna be the first E3 where all three game console manufacturers not gonna be there. And what do you think gonna happen? All the other companies that gonna be in this year E3 probably gonna be in next year E3. Think about it. Square Enix next year probably gonna be in E3 2024. Or EA. I think EA stopped doing E3s altogether, so I think EA already in that boat of not doing E3s. But Ubisoft probably not doing E3s. E3 is gone. Like, what's the point of E3? Cause E3 in the past was for developers or a game company to show off their best games. What games coming on there? It used to be a time where people actually was getting excited for what coming out now. But now E3 is just another show. Cause not only that E3 is somewhat irrelevant, it's just the fact that game company have found out, hey, why would we spend all these money just to go to E3? Wow, we can just host something like a Nintendo. That really, honestly, Nintendo was the whole company that started to think of, hey, let's just host our own show to save a bunch of money. which I thought Nintendo was kind of smart of doing that. Like, why would you spend a bunch of money just to go to E3 if when you just can host your own show? Because a YouTube channel is free, live streaming is free, and one thing about company is that they be trying to find ways to spend the least amount of money. So that was smart on Nintendo part. Like, we can save a whole bunch of money, but we still can show our E3 games as well. Even Microsoft following suit with the Bethesda Microsoft show that just happened like a couple weeks back. And now Sony's following suit with PlayStation State of Play. So now game companies are realizing, hey, why we gonna go to E3 when we can just show our games off ourselves? Like, it's stupid spending thousands upon thousands of dollars just to show our games off. Why not just make our own show? And that's what's happening. And E3 is suffering because of it. Cause you think all the other companies ain't gonna follow suit with the same ideal? You think Square Enix in a couple of years or even next year gonna be like, hey, why not just show our own games ourselves? Then make our own show, or a Square Enix Direct, or a Nintendo Direct knockoff of Square Enix, whatever you wanna call it. Let's make a Square Enix Direct where we show all our games. They just take our page from Nintendo, Microsoft, and Sony book and just show all our games off ourselves without even having to go to E3. We can save ourselves a bunch of money. And you think companies ain't gonna do that? Of course they will. They're companies, they're corporations. One thing about corporations that they find ways to save the most money possible. And you think them not going to E3 and saving those thousands upon thousands of dollars they would have spent on a show floor and all that stuff? I don't blame the company for not going to E3. I don't blame Nintendo, Microsoft, or Sony for going to E3. E3 is just irrelevant. It ain't because that E3 was bad. Me personally, I don't think E3 was bad. Honestly, I look forward to E3 every single year. Every single year, I look forward to E3 to see what kind of new games coming out. What good game I should get excited for. What should I be a little optimistic? Oh God, I can't talk today. Optimistic about. But now E3 is like, okay, E3 just another show where later on Nintendo probably gonna have another Direct in the future. So why should I get excited about E3 again when Nintendo, Microsoft, and Sony? E3 don't do enough to separate itself from the pack no more, because all the other game companies can do the same thing for cheap without having to spend thousands of dollars. Like, think about it. Let's think about it. With E3, you got filler upon filler upon filler, while Nintendo Directs or PlayStation State of Play, they get to the point. They give you fast-paced announcement. You don't have to suffer through somebody talking the whole entire time. That's another thing with E3 I kind of despise about it too. Is that when they do have E3 press conferences, it's just a talking head on stage talking for like 5 minutes at a time about stuff that people do not care about. Like, honestly, that's the worst part. For me, that's the worst part, is when people get on stage and just start talking and they don't hush. They just keep on talking when I just want to see what next game coming up. That's one thing I cannot stand. Most people probably can tolerate it, but I can't tolerate it. I ain't gonna lie. It gets annoying me when people get on stage and start talking about stuff that personally I don't even care about. And they be trying to sell you all these different subscriptions and all the other stuff. And don't get me started on the advertisements on E3 sometimes. So yeah, I think them going the Nintendo Direct route is a good idea, because not only that it saves your time as the viewer, cause you don't want to view stuff that you want to view. Also save the company money. And yeah, E3 just irrelevant. Why would you watch E3 over something like a Nintendo Direct, Xbox Bethesda show, or a PlayStation State of Play? What's the difference actually? What's the difference between those two? One thing about E3 in the State of Play or the Nintendo Direct, you don't have to worry about somebody talking upon hours on end, and you also don't have to worry about all the other nonsense that E3 brings with it too. So that's my take on why I think E3 is in trouble, why it's irrelevant, and why I do not blame Microsoft and Sony and Nintendo for backing out of E3 2022. It's just getting old, and I think Microsoft, Sony, and Nintendo pulling out is a good bid, not only a good bidding decision, also in the long run gonna be a good consumer decision, because now you don't have to worry about somebody going on stage and talking for hour upon hour on end about absolutely nothing. So yeah, they've been misplayed out with another video. See y'all next time. Peace.